We know that bison hide is used for making lots of things. It's a very tough leather. It's tough. It's thick enough that you don't want to use it for just everything, right? It's going to be a little heavy for most clothing. So deer is more often used for a lot of leather clothing, I think. But certainly for tough things like gloves and pads made out of leather, the hide is very important. Bison robes are very important for insulation, for wearing. And all kinds of animal parts have potential uses. So you can eat the meat, and you can preserve it through smoking and through drying, and you can pound it up with berries and nuts and make pemmican, which is sort of like, sort of a beef jerky that can be preserved and carried along for weeks or months. But in addition to that, bones are useful as tools. The marrow of bones can be rendered into broth and into other food products. The brain can be made into a glue and is helpful for tanning hides. Tendons are an important component. So the tendons are the muscle attachments, or at least the cords that attach muscle to bone. Those are often harvested, and if you soak them in water, they get pretty soft and kind of slimy. And they're very useful for attaching components of tools together. So, for example, putting a spearhead on a spear. You use that wet tendon, you soak it, and then you cut it into strips using a stone tool, and wrap that around the haft of the spear point and around the spear itself. It serves as a glue. It's very sticky, and that stickiness dries and hardens into a glue. But not only that, it shrinks as it dries. And so it gets tighter and tighter, and it creates this very tight bond. And we know that a lot of prehistoric tools, when we see complete tools found in dry caves and so on, they're put together using animal tendons. Horns, are made into scoops and cups and decorations, buttons and beads, and so on. And so, the old sort of trope is that, nothing is wasted. And I think there's a kernel of truth to that, in that I think there's a potential use for almost every part of the body.